Welcome to NSFW, Reality NSFW, might I add. We are live to talk about the reaction podcast of the challenge Double Agents. I am your host, Lauren Pratt, along with my co-host, Alex Trias. And we're here to break down everything going on in that premiere episode of the challenge. It was an epic premiere, so much good content in it. Alex, what are you thinking?
Man, what a premiere like that. It's been a while since I've had a show on the first episode just really get me perked up on my seat and paying attention the entire 90 minutes. Challenge did that tonight. The filming was spectacular, and I think there's just a lot of content that's going to drive this season. I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, as you just said, it was super exciting. I always enjoy when the challenge comes back. There were a lot of fresh new faces that they brought in, and honestly, the absence of Johnny Bananas might bring some more excitement and give us an opportunity to see some other stars rise to the occasion.
Absolutely. I'm a Johnny Bananas fan. I love having him on the shows. I think he just drives a lot. But with him being gone, it gives MTV a real chance to see who's the next person that can drive this show for the next 10 plus seasons. So as long as they're on air. And I think there's a lot of people, a lot of potential in this cast.
Yeah, so who are you thinking that could potentially be the new face of the challenge? Because we know that Bananas isn't going to be around forever, and they're definitely bringing in new rookies from a variety of different shows and from the UK. They've been doing that for the past couple of seasons, and I do think it's a great addition to the challenge.
Well, part of it, I feel like for people that are going to be mainstays, you have to see who are they consistently bringing back. And even if people love them or they hate them, if they're great at the challenge or not great at the challenge, there's a thing where if production's going to keep bringing you back, they think there's money in you. So you have, I think a big thing here is through the CBS Viacom partnership, Big Brother players that are coming in, that it's becoming more of a theme of every season now of the BB people, the BB alliances being talked about. And, you know, you have people like Josh and Fessy and Casey. They could create a stranglehold on this, on the challenge.
Yeah, speaking of the BB Alliance and having so many different people make that transition and the crossover, what do you think about Amber B coming on this season? Because she was on BB 16, so it's been a minute since she has been on television.
Yeah, it's interesting with her because for people who don't know, she was an earlier boot in Big Brother. She was a fifth person evicted. The thing she was most known for was she was part of this weird creeper stalker-like relationship at the time with Caleb Beast Mode Cowboy, and his alliances essentially took her out so that he could stop being distracted by her. But when she was in the game, she did show some social prowess in there that I feel could be very beneficial in a game like this. We didn't get to hear anything from her today, but I'm assuming we'll get to see more of that as the shows go on.
Yeah, and as you just pointed out, with the Big Brother people, they're used to playing a social political game. So this season, with how it's being run, and we'll get into that, that's going to be very crucial.
Yeah, absolutely. With all the twists and turns that the challenge and TJ have implemented for this season, it's a lot of who can you trust no one.
Yep. But let's jump right into the episode here. Honestly, gotta say, TJ, what a freaking badass.
Dude was looking the most dapper I've ever seen him on this show. This is his 26th season hosting, and they did the part well. They wanted to have that agent feel, and he looked like someone coming out of M16. That he was ready to be someone's handler, give them their assignments, and be on his way. Go get dinner somewhere. He looked fantastic. The scenery, just like the landscape around it, looks so cool. He's on his helicopter because, of course, he has to come in on a really cool vehicle. You have all the cast coming in 5 totally blacked out, decked out trucks, and they come in. They're all anticipating TJ. Namvo has no idea who TJ is, but he feels intimidated by him. You know the season's starting.
Right, because as a lot of the vets would say, the season really doesn't start until you see TJ. Because what we saw on Monday night, they did a preview, so we got to see them all going into the house together, getting acclimated with each other, but they hadn't seen TJ yet. So just having them all roll up in the cars, TJ coming out like a badass and everything, that's when my heart was pumping. I go, all right, we're really starting the challenge here.
Yeah, and he does say today we have $1 million on the line. It's cooped up somewhere, but only the best agents can find it. And he pulled 30 of the best people he knew, or casting did, but we'll give TJ the credit. And that's what we have. We have 30 strong competitors, all from various areas. Some that are born and bred through MTV. You got Big Brother, you got Survivor, you got Netflix's Ultimate Beastmaster, and you have a former Olympian in Lolo Jones. They literally have it all here.
Yeah, they definitely did awesome with this cast. There's so much diversity in it, bringing people, like we said, from different areas, different parts of the world. I love it. It makes me super excited. What I also love even more is jumping immediately into what they call a mission, aka a challenge right away.
Before we do that, though, I do have to give one comment. And I think one of the comments of the night comes from Nelson, fully going into the full agent mode, trying to figure out his name, and going with Double or Nelly T for Double or Nothing. I think he's confusing gambling with secret agency. But that's okay. I love Nelson.
Here's the thing about Nelson. Nelson is not always the brightest guy. We all know that. Puzzles, that's not his strength, but he does provide a lot of comedy, so I appreciate that. Also, I do have to add, if we're talking about specific lines or sentences that people said, Corey was absolutely hilarious when he was starting to talk about the heavy hitters with Lolo coming in, and then he goes, oh, Josh, he really doesn't matter. That was gold.
Yeah, they love to bust each other's balls, and it's good to see it. You don't like having contestants that in their confessionals will have like a stick up their butt and not try to be very politically correct. You want people that are going to bring entertainment. And Corey, I think as seasons have come along, has figured that out more.
For sure. And you want authenticity. You also want people that aren't afraid to go off the handle either, because we're watching the show for entertainment. I don't want to watch someone that just sits there and says, this is what we did, this is how it went. No, I want the true facts, how they truly feel about people. And that also lets us as viewers know how they're feeling emotionally as well.
Yeah. And you'll know who production does not like, because they will get the confessionals of rehashing what the challenge is.
Yes, we did notice that Casey last season kind of filled that role a little bit, so I'm interested to see who that will be this season.
Yep. But speaking on that, let's get into the mission. So the mission is called Mission Decryption. And how it worked was there was a capsule on this mound of dirt that had a various amount of color rings around it. And then when TJ said to go, first all the women went and then all the men went. They all had to go up that mound, fight for the capsule, and memorize all the colors, and then put all the wires at their box and their station together in the same order. First person to do it in the quickest time would win for their group.
Yeah, and I was very excited to see a physical challenge right off the bat, because everyone was going to be wrestling to try and figure out what those colors were. And the women hit it off strong. I mean, Lolo running up that mountain, my goodness, the guys were just, their eyes were like, bing, like,
yeah,
they knew what was happening. They knew it was going to happen, but just witnessing it and seeing how quick she got up there and just smoking everyone.
Yeah, I see that. First thing I go is, Lolo, if she didn't terrify you, you should be terrified of her, just how hard she attacked going up that mountain. She got there before anyone was even close to getting up that mound, and she had time to just walk around and look at the colors for as long as she could. It was very impressive just to see her in action, because you don't get to see Olympians work all the time. You see them maybe 2 to 4 years, and then you see them a couple times, and then that's it. Seeing them in action is really a feat.
Yeah, what I was personally hoping for is her to sprint around as long as she could to try and memorize the colors. But we all know with the type of running that she did, she would gas out pretty quickly because she is a sprinter.
Yeah. Well, see, with this, it's you don't need to have endurance for this type of competition. It's different than some of the ones they've done in the past where you had to run a mile to the station, memorize it, run a mile back, try to get everything as you can. And here it was very close together. So it was a lot easier where you should have gone up, try to get a peek into it and look for 3 to 4 colors, go back, put those in, and then run back as everyone else is finally starting to go back to try to get their wires in. Like, I think too many people were staying there for too long trying to figure out as much of the combination as possible, where the best way you could do this is do it in chunks.
For sure, absolutely, especially because you're having to run back and forth, so your memory might not be as sharp. So it's easier to remember a few at a time, go lock in, and know you're 100% correct, versus having to go back and relook so many times, because then you don't know and you can't keep track of which ones are incorrect. I will say I did love kind of seeing where people were lying with others in terms of who they were helping, because Nicole, she was so obvious. And I think that's a mistake to be that obvious. I know people said in their confessionals that they didn't mind it, but she was so gung-ho about wanting to help Lolo.
I love Darrell making fun of her voice also. Sound like a dying cat or whatever he said, because everyone makes fun of Nicole's voice anyway, because she just has that very thick, like almost Staten Island type accent where it sounds like she just has a bunch of marbles in her mouth the entire time. And then seeing her trying to scream with that voice was priceless for me. And then you also saw some other people helping. Like you had Ashley helping Big T because she realized Big T had her wires in completely backwards. You had people grouping up together, trying to say to each other all at the same time, like, okay, these colors, it's blue, yellow, pink, white, blue, yellow, pink, white, and trying to figure it out. And so through that, we saw sort of the front runners in this competition were Cam and Anissa and Ashley. And lo and behold, the person who going into this had her confessional talking about people see me as a layup, I just can't get that big win. She gets to have the big win to start off the season, which I think will be a big confidence boost for her. And Anissa wins for the women.
Yeah, huge win for Anissa. What I will say is I do think the subtle parts of some people trying to work with others was better than being so loud and vocal. So Anissa did quite well for herself. She was helping and getting intel from other people, but she wasn't very loud about it. And she was confident in herself, was able to come through, pulled out the win, which is great for her because now people might look at her and say, she's not a layup anymore. However, as you know in the challenge, each challenge is different. So this one, yes, it was somewhat physical, but it's not something where Anissa had to try too hard. I think she might struggle down the road, but we'll see. It could be a new Anissa.
And we very well might. And then that gets us to the men. And all I can say is after seeing the women do it, I feel like most people can agree with me. Who doesn't love a good old-fashioned scrum? Like it looked like a rugby game out there with everyone just tearing at each other, trying to get to the capsule to get their combinations.
Yeah, well, you knew it was going to be down and dirty with the guys. And gotta say, one of my favorite moments in challenge history, and it is at the top after this, CT pulling off the shoe, just throwing it behind him, smacks Wes in the face. That will be at the top of my list all time. It is the funniest thing ever. And it was so unexpected because CT's like, oh, here's a shoe, and just right behind him. And he had no idea. And the thing about it was a direct hit like Battleship. It was perfect.
Oh my God. Yeah. Everything about that scene was fantastic. Them rerunning just to get the opera music in, as he slowly descends in pain from having a shoe flung into his face. CT making fun of him for saying, Wes should be okay with having a shoe in his face. He puts his foot in his mouth all the time. He should be used to it by now. And then just goes like his old man sigh as he's like, okay, I need to go back to work.
Yeah, classic. And that will definitely be showing up on timelines all over social media.
That, like Wes said, it's going to be gift for a long time.
Yeah, 100%. So what did you kind of think with the guys' turn? Who kind of stood out to you, and what were the strategies that they were kind of trying to pull?
Well, I feel like both the men and women did end up getting to what I was saying was go in, try to get a handful, maybe like 4 to 5 of the colored rings, and then go back, put that combination and go forward. Like you saw Darrell doing that. You saw CT, Fessy, Devin. Well, out of nowhere, you have Devin asking for a check. You didn't see him at all until he goes for a check and gets it wrong. And I think overall, that's the best you can do. Is you just have to have a good memory at that point, have short bursts of speed, and keep going back and forth. So you had to have brains more than having toughness or endurance. And Fessy's continuing to show he's not just a physical competitor. He does have some memory skills in there. He's not the best with puzzles, but he does have some memory skills there.
Yeah, going into it for sure, I thought Devin had a huge chance of winning just because we see him in mental comps. He's very, very good. And I thought he was going to be someone at the top of the list. Like you said, saw out of nowhere him doing a check. We don't really know how close he was. I wish we were able to kind of see if they yelled check, that we could see actually what the combination was a bit easier, but we didn't get that. However, as you said, Fessy, I wouldn't say it's a surprising win, but he's not someone I expected to win this particular challenge.
Yeah, like if you asked me who I think would have won that, I would have actually thought CT would win this because he's coming in. He is in better shape than he has been in recent seasons. And he's also someone who's been known to do very well with the mental competitions as well. So I was thinking he's big. He's going to be able to bully most of the guys around him, get enough of the look, and then just like stroll back, put his wires in, and then just go right back in for more. But that's, can't count Fessy out. Fessy's going to be a strong competitor. Like I said, I think he's going to be a challenge staple for seasons to come.
Yeah, Fessy is for sure. I think I wouldn't say he's going to be the new face of the challenge by any means, but I think we'll see a reoccurrence of him because he does provide that physical and competitiveness that they do like to see in the challenge. I will say about CT, say goodbye to the dad bod because he's back. He's not in the shape that he used to be when he was younger, but he looks really good this season and he is not there to mess around. He's in it to win it fully, and I think we're going to see a lot from CT personally. So he's someone that they need to look out for because if he was doing well with the dad bod, look out now when he's actually super fit.
Hey, it's his words. It's no more with the dad bod. He's now the fatherly figure.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see what the fatherly figure brings him.
Yeah, we'll see. So Aneesa, Fessy both get that W, and then TJ comes in with yet again another twist, which we fully expect from TJ.
Yeah, and that twist was we're going to be doing pairs this season, and the overall winner by over a minute was Aneesa, and Aneesa gets the first opportunity to pick any of the men in the field, and they would be her partner. And of course, everyone's looking away. You have Fessy trying to be nice. I like Aneesa. Endurance isn't her thing though, but she's nice. But everyone's trying to look away, and you knew even with the commercial break, you knew Aneesa was picking Fessy. She's gushing over him about how great he is. Of course, she's gonna pick him.
Yeah, that's the same thing with, when you're a kid and everything and you're standing in a line of people and there's that one person in the class that you're about to potentially get picked for a group project and you're sitting there like, please, please, please do not pick me. And then bullseye. they pick you and you just go, no, why? I was trying to hide. So that's definitely how all the guys were feeling, except Darrell. I think Darrell would have been completely happy with Anissa. So come back from commercial break, ding, ding, ding. Anissa goes with Fessy, but she did somewhat pause because I still think she was thinking about who she wanted. But then at the end of the day, she said, you know what, Fessy's going to be my guy. And when he did get with Anissa, he was very nice to her. And he said, you know what, you haven't won any of these. I'm going to help you win.
Yeah, and that's a smart move from Fessy's point. Like, you don't know how the season's actually going to work the entire way. But at that moment, he knows, okay, I'm part of Anissa. I know her weaknesses, but I also know her strengths. I'm hoping that my strengths can counterbalance her weaknesses, and we can just keep each other safe as long as we need to be. So playing the political game.
You have to. You cannot, in the challenge, let people know what you're truly thinking. You can say it in a confessional for the viewers, but don't be outspoken because that will bite you in the ass quicker than you can think.
Yeah, absolutely. You keep your friends close, you keep your enemies closer, but you want to keep everyone content with you. So there's no point in him making a big scene going, I hate Anissa. She can't run. Why did she pick me? Oh God, this is the end of the world for me. That's not going to do you any favors. But leading out of that, TJ brings in the next twist. Usually you have, in a pair season, the pairs are predetermined.
Mm-hmm.
TJ's like, let's have some fun. Schoolyard pick, all you guys find a partner, and I want to see you guys in single file.
Now, before that happened, before he made that twist reveal, did you think that Fessy and Anissa were going to potentially pick the teams? Before TJ stepped in to say, hey, you guys got to scatter, pick your partner right now.
I thought maybe it would have been sort of schoolyard pick, like sort of they would pick the next group and then it would like keep going from there, because then you would have people having to force into making the decision of, okay, do I just pair weak people together and just make an easy target, or do I pair two of my allies together to make sure that we keep a group together, or do I put someone with someone that they absolutely hate and they're going to have their mess that's going to become a bigger target than me? So there's a lot of different avenues that you can go about when picking the teams that way, but I think you also get it from how they ultimately do it.
Yeah, and how they ultimately do it is very entertaining to watch, because you see people go and snatch other people up, and then you see some of the Big Brother people, a little bit of strategy here with who they're picking, trying not to be together. So it was interesting to see who ended up with who. And then you get the fire from Cam. Killer Cam is coming out. She went up to CT, and CT basically slapped in the face, no, I don't want you. I wouldn't want to piss off Killer Cam, and CT just pissed her off.
Yeah, and I think part of that issue, and as we go through the teams, I'll sort of explain it. You see a lot of people picking, at least in the first half, people that they're comfortable with, more so than who's the best person for me to align with here. Because the Big Brother people and Cam and Leroy are on that same page of, we need to build our numbers. We shouldn't group up together. Let's expand, attach us to someone else. They become part of our group, whether they want to or not. They're part of our group, and we can just amass the numbers. And at least for the early portion of the game, we can dictate who goes into eliminations. Maybe we don't know the rules yet, and whatnot. Really take control of the game. So they were smart. Where you had, I feel CT was sort of scared in that moment where he really wanted to have Tori because he ran a final with her for a portion before in Dirty 30, and Corey already snatched her up. So he's looking and he's grilling Cam, sort of like an interview process. She gives him her portfolio, her resume. Here's all my highlights. This is all my skills, and here are my referrals. And CD goes, cool, rejected. Next person, and finally finds Ashley, who he won a final with on a challenge battle or invasion.
Yeah, So, like you just said, I think he went with someone that he was comfortable with, but it wasn't a smart gameplay because you can't piss someone off in front of a large group of people. He made it open that he did not want to be with Cam. You can't do that because then that honestly puts a target on your back because she's thinking, crap, he doesn't want to work with me. I don't want to work with him either. I'm going to go find my people, get those people on my side, and you're an instant target. Now, what he should have probably done is been like, all right, like, let's see how other people are feeling. Is there a strategy we can put in place where you're with someone and I'm with someone else? Then that way we can join together. That's how the Big Brother people did it. So I think CT, as much as I think he's awesome at these challenges, I think that was a huge blunder for him tonight.
I think with a lot of the veterans, it was sort of like a big curveball to them because they're not used to that. They're not used to having to be able to pick their own person. So it's sort of like you're the kid at the candy store, and then you actually have to. But your parents say you can only have one piece of candy. Like you get to go into the store, but you only get to go out with one thing, and so you're frantically looking at everything, and you're like, it's so much good. How do I pick the best one? Sometimes you pick wrong, and you regret it instantly.
Mm-hmm. So let's get into some of these teams' initial thoughts and reactions.
Yeah, so first handful of teams that we see set up are Tori and Corey. Corey immediately snatches Tori.
2 seconds.
Yeah, 2 seconds. You have Teresa and Jay. Odd pairing, but Jay is a challenge fan. He's so happy to be with Teresa. But he's like, not too happy. I don't want her NFL husband to beat me up. So friendly love that I'm with her. Then you have Nani and Kyle, Nicole and Devin, and I'll cap this portion off with Natalie and Wes.
Yeah, so we see some strong teams there. Natalie and Wes, strong team. Only issue is a lot of the other girls are saying, Natalie, what are you doing aligning yourself with Wes? And Natalie probably should have known better because Wes is good to have in different instances, depending on what the theme is of the challenge. But if he's your partner, that's probably a bad move. If you're working in a large team where you're having to play the political game, Wes is someone that's very good at that, especially with garnering to the rookie people.
And I think that's why she ended up picking him. Was as everyone knows with the challenge, there's always pregame. Once contestants have an idea of who's on the season, they're all DMing each other. I am positive that Wes made it his mission to DM Natalie and make her one of his top people for him. And, you know, it was for her, it was between him and Darrell, and she felt, probably by the way Wes pitched to her, Wes had more connections, more feelers around him that should have insulated her as well in her initial thinking. Whereas Darrell, yes, he's strong and a great competitor, but maybe he's a little too nice. He's been away for a handful of seasons. Who is he really allied with? So she, in her mind, she thinks she's making the better decision at that moment, going with Wes and taking that risk.
Right, and she has good awareness in the sense of saying that Darrell is very similar to her, and I absolutely agree with that. I think her and Darrell play similar games, even though she hasn't been on a challenge season. How she plays Survivor is pretty much how Darrell plays the challenge. So her mindset was, if we link up together, we're way too similar where we're not able to branch off with other people.
Yeah, definitely. That's pretty much all I have on that front for now. And then we get into our next portion of groups. We have Darrell finding his person as he links up with Amber B, which is ironic because he has very strong feelings about not trusting the Big Brother people. But I think just through the craziness of everyone just pulling everyone, he's like, I need to have someone, and then picks Amber.
That might be smart, though, because he knows that other Big Brother people are aligned. So if he can put himself with another Big Brother person, that could help him have numbers.
And we know after the fact, and we'll get to it, that because Cam got slighted, now between them and the rookies, they want to take the 4 winners out of the game. Darrell's a winner, but will Darrell, being paired with Amber, who's connected with Casey, Josh, and Fessy, and through that, they're also loosely connected to Leroy and Cam. Is that enough goodwill and connections there where Darrell gets to sort of make it a little farther than the rest of them?
Yeah, time will tell. But I'm not sleeping on that matchup right now.
So then we also get Josh and Cam, Casey and Leroy. They both have the same idea. We want to be together, but we know it's better if we split and make multiple groups. So they exchange with each other. I think that's smart.
100%. It was an excellent strategy on their end. And I do actually think that group of 4 genuinely likes each other, because you don't want to necessarily go into that strategy with someone that you're a little iffy about, because as we see in the challenge, there are fights all the time. So that person can be with you at one point, and then the next moment they're on the other side.
Well, I think for Leroy and Cam specifically, it's good that sort of build that kinship with a player like Casey, who through her experience, we have seen her now on 2 different shows. Her thing is, I'm going to have people that I rock with. And people that I rock with, I'm going to protect as much as I can. And I want to bring all of us there, and then we can have a battle amongst each other. We'll see how that goes.
Right, because if Cam and Leroy paired up with each other, I think target number 1, no matter what, because they're the couple in the house.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't really avoid it. They're doing everything they can to sort of separate it enough where it's not as in front to everyone, but everyone knows. But with that, we get the last few groups, and it's really the rookies and Big T groups. So you got Leo, former WWE wrestler Leo Rush, and Gabby Allen from Love Island UK and Celebrity Big Brother UK. You have Big T and Joseph Allen from America's Got Talent. Seems like a nice kid. Fell asleep at the bar. Not good. You don't fall asleep at the bar. You don't fall asleep at the club.
Mm-mm.
It ain't a good look.
He's out of his league. I mean, if you're falling asleep at the drinking festivity that they were having, he has no idea what he got himself into, because, as you said, that's a good time to politic with the other people that are on the cast. If you're sleeping, someone else is talking to someone else, which means it's not you, which means you could be a target.
Yeah, and that's what Big T talked about. She was so excited to be at the bar. She's like, that's where I was making all my connections in the previous season. That's how I was interweaving, making everyone like me, so that I could try to use that for my benefit. And to have her see her partner just sleeping with a bar pillow, which I also wouldn't recommend sleeping on anything with a bar. That's not where you sleep. I don't like that. That's a big red flag for me. For if you fall asleep at the bar, there's an issue there.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that. I was personally waiting in that scene for someone to splash a drink in his face to wake him up. So I was surprised that he didn't get heckled that much. Most people seem to have left him alone, which is a shocker for me on the challenge, but maybe it's because Bananas was absent.
I think probably it's because everyone's getting to talk to each other. They've been isolated for over a week, maybe 2 weeks, and they're just happy to have people around them. So they're like, yeah, there's a guy saying, okay, I'm going to talk to everyone else, because this is the only bar that they get to go to the entire season.
True, but it wouldn't be a challenge season without pranks. So I was expecting a little bit more from that. Maybe, as we've seen in previous challenge seasons, a little bit of the marker to the face. You know, he is a rookie. You see it happen all the time. But they left him alone, which, you know, it is what it is. I think he's out of his league here.
Yeah. And then with that, we have our final 3 teams. We got Nelson and Amber M from the last season of Are You the One? You have Michi from X on the Beach with Liv, who's from Shipwrecked. That's also an international show. And then lastly, last team, which is sort of surprising that they allowed this to happen. You have Lolo Jones teaming up with Namvo. And you look at Namvo and you think, okay, he's physically looks like a beast. Dude looks like he has 0% body fat and is tall and strong and big. And you learn from his other show, Ultimate Beastmaster, that he was an engineering student. So, and you see them talking about Non-vote thinks, hey, if it's physical, I think we're good. If there's a puzzle, I also think we're good. We're both smart.
Well, it goes back to us stating that people were doing their matchups based on who they were comfortable with. So honestly, they just kind of seemed as though they were the outsiders there, got linked up with each other. And personally, I think they're going to be a force on this season. But I do also want to talk just slightly about Amber M and Nelson. We didn't see too much from either of them tonight, but Amber M is very, very, very tiny. So if she goes into any type of elimination that's physical, I think she's going to be very much in trouble. I will say she is very feisty, and I think she's someone on this season that they brought on to potentially be the hookup queen because she swings both ways. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes down with her this season. I think she can create some distractions for people and maybe get in good from the political side. So she's someone that you might have to look out for a little bit just from her being able to get an in with people.
Yeah. And with that, so we have all of our teams. Lauren, are there any like specific teams when you look at them on paper, you think, okay, if this is a season where all of them are just this is your pair and you run the season, who are the ones that really stand out to you as these are the power players, these are the threats to win and win often?
Well, Wes and Natalie for sure, because I think they're both very intelligent, they're both very physical, and they're a team that would be a brute force. I also, as I said, Nam and Lolo, don't know how they ended up together, but they did. They're going to be a rookie team that they need to look out for. And I know Lolo has been on Champs versus Pros, but I still consider her a rookie on this season.
Oh yeah, she is a rookie, and I had my thing on what's a rookie and what's a vet. To me, you're still technically in that rookie phase until you've completed your third season, and you've actually within those 3 seasons have been more than just an early boot.
Yep.
So to me, Jay's not a vet. Bessie's not a vet, even if he made a final. He's not a vet yet to me. You gotta earn your stripes. You gotta show longevity before you're really a veteran.
Yeah, so who do you think are some heavy-hitting teams so far based on these matchups?
Like, I have to say, because I just gushed over them about Namvo and Lolo, I think will be one of the top teams running in each of the missions that they do. Before, spoiler alert, Ashley goes home tonight, but CT and Ashley would have been a good team if they had missions where they got to pair up and work together, because they've shown that chemistry before, and they also have a well balance of CT has that physical strength and the mental comps. Ashley is very smart for challenge players, and she's very good with puzzles. So between the two of them, I feel they could have gotten through anything. You have your Wes and Natalie as well, and we'll see with Fessy and Anissa. But maybe this is the true story of Anissa finally showing a lot of people, hey, I can actually take control of the game.
Yeah, another team that has potential is maybe Tori and Corey.
Yes, they're both seasoned veterans at this point. Tori can be a little hit or miss on seasons. She's gone to 2 finals, and also I feel has gone early in the other 2 seasons she's been in. But she's usually good socially in that social political game, and at least in her mind, which confidence is a big thing, she feels she's one of the better competitors normally on a challenge season. My worry is this ain't a normal challenge season with the people that they brought in. But she also has Corey, who's usually at least an above average competitor, unless you throw a puzzle in his face.
Yeah, the puzzles could be a detriment to Corey for sure. I'm also excited to see how they are as a duo with each other, because I really don't think they have worked really with each other at all.
Yeah, I from my knowledge, they don't have that much experience working together. I don't even know how many seasons they've been on together where they both have lasted a long time. So, but obviously there must be some out of the show like connections there as well going on where they're friendly with each other. So they probably felt, okay, that's something familiar. They're not directly associated with me, so maybe we can build something off of it. But with that, and before we move forward into the show, I would like us to hear a word from some of our sponsors.
Winter's here and it's crazy cold outside. But what you don't know is you should still drink more water. By the time you feel thirsty, it's too late. You're already dehydrated. You can't focus and you feel tired.
Drinking enough water is critical for a healthy lifestyle that you're trying to maintain. It increases your brain power, boosts your productivity. It can prevent headaches and it'll increase your focus. Not only that, it improves your skin and mood, and it can help with your digestion and give you energy. Wow, it also prevents bad breath and can help you lose weight. But how much water should you drink each day? 10 cups? A gallon? The good news is that it doesn't have to be so complicated. That's why I start my day with Hydrant, because Hydrant helps you hydrate faster.
Hydrant has created a refreshing electrolyte powder that you mix directly into water to more efficiently and effectively hydrate your body. It hydrates you quickly and keeps you going for longer. Each rapid hydration mix has the 4 essential electrolytes that your body needs: sodium, potassium, magnesium, and zinc, and it packs a punch to help your body hydrate fast and stay hydrated. If you're looking for that extra boost of energy, there's also Hydrant Plus Caffeine, which contains 100 milligrams of caffeine from green tea. Hydrant is backed by research. The formula was developed by an Oxford scientist. It also is loved by pro athletes, top performers, celebrities, and has thousands of 5-star reviews.
It's made with real fruit juice powder. It's delicious and refreshing, and it comes in a variety of flavors, including iced tea lemonade and fruit punch. My favorite personally is the grapefruit. It's a classic and I go back to it. It's delicious. Plus, this stuff is backed by a 100% satisfaction guarantee. If you don't love it, you can send it back for a full refund. You really need to try it for yourself to see what I'm talking about. It tastes incredible and it works.
Well, Hydrant starts at just $1 a packet for a 30-day supply, and you save even more with a monthly subscription. And it's so easy to get. We've got a special deal for our listeners to save 25% off your first order. We're not kidding here, folks. 25%. Go to drinkhydrant.com/survivor and enter our promo code SURVIVOR at checkout. That's drinkhydrant.com/survivor and enter promo code SURVIVOR for 25% off your first order. That's drinkhydrant.com/survivor. Enter promo code SURVIVOR to save 25%. And we thank them for sponsoring the podcast.
This episode is brought to you by Magic Spoon, and I'm so glad it is because growing up, cereal was one of the best parts of being a kid, but I had to give it up because I'm now in my 30s and I was realizing that it's full of sugar, junk, and all this stuff you really shouldn't eat. So I've been trying to cut down on carbs, sugar, all this unhealthy food, and I realized I basically can't eat anything anymore except Magic Spoon.
For me, we're into the winter months and nothing's changed for me. I mean, I have 5Ks coming up, 10Ks coming up, half marathons coming up. I still treat my body as great as I personally can on a physical level, but a part of that is eating right. You know, I'm not doing the big hearty breakfast that I used to do in the past. I'm not doing the unhealthy breakfast that I've been doing in the past. I am doing a breakfast that helps me get through the day, not add those extra carbs, and make me feel like the healthiest Johnny Fairplay I've ever been in my entire life. Sign me up for Survivor right now.
This stuff has 0 sugar, 11 grams of protein, and only 3 net grams of carbs in each serving. There's 4 flavors that are their staples. You can get cocoa, fruity, frosted, blueberry. It tastes amazing. Honestly, it's too good to be true. Johnny, what are your favorite flavors?
Well, right now I am all in on the apple cinnamon. Remember that apple cereal you had as a kid and you loved? It is here through Magic Spoon, but so much better, and I freaking love it. You cannot stop me from eating this. I mean, you have the fruity, the peanut butter, the cocoa, the cinnamon, the apple cinnamon. Oh man, number 1, blueberry frosted. So many to choose from. I am digging this.
All these cereals are keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, low-carb, and GMO-free. Johnny, where should they go to pick some up?
Of course, you go to magicspoon.com/survivor to grab a variety pack and try it today. And be sure to use our promo code SURVIVOR at checkout to get free shipping. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. That's magicspoon.com/survivor. Use the code SURVIVOR for free shipping. And we thank Magic Spoon for sponsoring the podcast.
Okay. Well, so we finally were back in the bar, and but TJ, prior to all of that, does give the announcement, skulls are back in action. If you want to run TJ's final, you have to win an elimination and earn that gold skull this year. Not a red skull, but a gold skull. And what's different this time is last season, they didn't announce how many skulls there were. This time, he strictly says there are 10 skulls available. That's the cap. If you don't got a skull by the time the final comes, you ain't running. You're going home empty-handed.
Yeah, skulls are back, baby. But here's my thing. Are you a fan of the skulls? Because me personally, I'm okay with it. I don't have too much of an issue because I think people have to go into elimination, prove themselves, and showcase that they have what it takes to make a final. My only thing is, I think sometimes it takes away some of the strategy just a little bit because, yes, you're trying to determine when is the perfect time to go in and get that skull, but I do like seeing people that are able to band together and cut who they want to cut out, make people go in and make more power moves. So I don't know what your thoughts are on the skulls, though.
I'm the exact opposite. I love the skulls, and more specifically this season than last season. Last season, the issue was no one knew how many there were. They were always afraid, oh, that could be the last one. They can only give 6 skulls. They could give 8 skulls. 4 for the guys, 4 for the girls. We don't know. So a lot of people are, and you have to also take into fact living conditions. Last season, they were living in a bunker underground, not filtered air. So you're getting recycled oxygen. And the cast has said it themselves. It was not good arrangement. So a lot of them were just like, hey, I'm here. If I don't have a skull, what's the point of me being here? I'll throw myself in. And a lot of people, I think, at that point were just like, okay, we're going to let that happen and do that. This season, I think, is different. They're in good living arrangements, and they know how many there are. And you have to make the assumption that it's going to be 5 skulls for the men, 5 skulls for the girls. And there's 30 players, there's 15 teams. There's a lot of time. So those 5 skulls could get handed out, and you could still probably have like 7 or 8 more rounds that you need to go through. So the people that are getting the skulls now aren't guaranteed safety at all. They're most likely going to have to go in again. And I think there's more strategy and variables put in place with the skulls, so it allows more variety into the season. Like, you don't have just one big alliance that's able to control the entire way, because at some point, if you find a way to get all your alliance those 5 skulls, there's still other people there that want those skulls. You're going to have to eat your own, sacrifice someone as a sacrificial lamb, and let them get slaughtered. That's where fights are going to happen, and alliances are going to get broken up, and you're going to see more infighting. So I think it's going to create better TV this season.
To be fair, I didn't say I fully disliked the skulls. I just said it wasn't my favorite. But what I will say is I feel as though last season was more of a test run for how they want to do the skulls. This season, I absolutely agree with you in the sense of they know how many skulls there are, so you know exactly how many you are competing for. So if you miss your window to go into an elimination, that's your fault. If you don't get that skull, you're not running TJ's final. So I completely agree with that variable of you have to know the right strategy of, okay, I need to go in because there's not going to be any skulls left. And also, I think it puts a huge target on people's back if they're one of those first people to go in, because I guarantee you're going to maybe potentially go in again and again until someone can steal your skull.
There's that possibility, and there's also an advantage, I think, for some of the more stronger players that feel more confident in eliminations, be like, hey, I will go in early. I'm going to dominate someone to the point where every single person's like, we know we need to get rid of them. I don't want to be that person. Like you saw it tonight. Fessy didn't want to be that person to take the shot CT. Granted, we know now that it was a women's elimination, but they thought it was going to be pairs. Because as TJ explains, the winners in Aneesa and Fessy become the double agents, and they're immune for that round. They can't be selected by the rest of the teams to go into elimination. Instead, the rest of the teams vote anonymously by themselves, not with their partner, which team they want to send into elimination. And then the double agents can either pick themselves to go in and earn their skulls, or send another team that's available down and fight the team that got voted in.
I'm a huge fan of people voting not as a duo. I love that they're voting individually this season, because if you're not completely aligned with what your partner thinks or how they're wanting to progress in the game necessarily, you can vote in your own direction, potentially get a target that you want out specific to you, because we do end up finding out, hey, it's guys eliminations and girls eliminations. So if I'm a girl and I want a strong guy out, they might not want that person going in, because they could in turn end up going in against them. But that might be an opportunity to go against what your partner wishes. Also, another element I do really like is the fact that no one knows who voted for who.
Well, some people do. But
right.
Before I get into that, so you're telling me this twist allows people to be double agents?
Yes.
Well, thank God the season's called Double Agents, because, man, what a trip that would be.
I mean, here's the thing. I think some people are going to go with that, and I think other people are just going to stand by their partner's side. So I'm interested to see which people are going to go against their partners and which people are going to stay linked throughout the entire challenge season. But we'll also get into it later, where partners might not always be the same.
Yeah, and I got comments on that, but I'll save them. For now, we just go through very quickly before we get into the vote. The main things that are happening are you see CT and Ashley, and more so Wes and Natalie sort of being the commentators here up. Let's just try to keep low. We believe we have numbers around us through our connections. Let's just push a team that has 2 rookies and put them in, and then have Fessy and Aneesa pick one of us to go in, earn that goal, or just send anyone, as long as we can survive the first round and start to let our seeds start to grow. However, all the rookies are a little more wise to that, because this is a show where people actually watch it and they know what the common threads are for the challenge. And the rookies are like, no, let's not have that. And between them and the Big Brother people, they're like, and Cam, and it's all because CT burned her. Why are we keeping the winners around? Why are we letting them get to dictate what happens? Why are we allowing them to skate by like they get to do every season? Because we're like, oh, that's just the thing. We let them go through. We let the rookies eat their own. And this season, whether it was a good move or not, they're like, no, we're going to put CT and Ashley in. They're 2 winners. And just cutting it short, it was a horrible decision.
Yes.
My opinion, it was a horrible decision, because you do not know yet how the eliminations actually work. They all made the assumption that it was going to be pair eliminations. And so they're like, oh, great, we can put those 2 in. We'll put another powerful team in with a winner, and, hey, they'll eat themselves. They swung at 2 giants in West and CT, and they completely missed. Big Brother always talks about play chess, not checkers. Those boys were playing checkers tonight.
Right, I agree with that. To be fair, though, if you are a rookie, if you see a force of people all coming together and aligning, saying we're going to vote these people in, you're going to go with that if you're a rookie, because you literally are trying to, at that point, save yourself, because you know how the game works. Typically, rookies get targeted first. So if I'm any of those rookies and one of the vets comes to me and is pitching a name, I'm going with that name just to save my ass, especially at the beginning, for sure, because you really want to, they don't know what the eliminations are going to be like. So you don't want to be going into that first elimination until you're able to actually see what the format of eliminations are going to be for the season. So rookies, good move on them to save themselves. However, potentially bad move on which team was selected to go in.
Well, to be clear, rookies, I think they did the correct thing. It's the veterans that end up making that decision that I think they saw the stake and they're like, we have to put our fork and knife in, we have to dig it in. They think they got that nice medium rare cut just to find out it wasn't even cooked. It was still mooing.
Well, and also Leroy should know better. Leroy has played in enough challenges where he knows that twists and turns are always going to happen. So he should have maybe convinced Cam, hey, we can target them just a little bit later, but we're opening up a can of worms if we put in CT and Ashley right away, because heaven forbid, if it was a duo elimination and CT and Ashley were to both come back in together, Cam and Leroy, that whole crew, target. And you know how Ashley is. She does not hold back. She'll call you out on her shit. So she's a scary person to put in right away, because if she comes back, the whole house is burning down.
Yeah, and despite what people say, like, Ashley is a strong player. She's not the best at eliminations, but she's serviceable. Like, she's not a slouch. She's a winner for a reason. Like, they say as such. Like, there's a reason why there's so few of them on that season that actually won, and it's because they do what needs to be done to survive, and then when they need to prove themselves, more times than not, they do. And there, as Ashley was making a bunch of comments on, there's a reason why all these people are a bunch of losers.
Right. Well, what always worked in Ashley's favor is if she makes it to the final, chances are she's going to win. She just has to be that type of person to get there, which is where eliminations really hurt Ashley, because some of them are very, very physical. And not saying Ashley's not physical. I think she's super, super strong, especially for her size and everything. But if you're going up against these big, heavy hitters, it is so hard to beat them in a physical competition.
Yeah. But anyway, we get into the deliberation before they all go to their votes. And I do just want to step on this spot shortly to just give credit to Leo and Joseph for really holding their own there. They weren't going to allow the CT to really give any type of platform. They knew he was the one getting the votes regardless. But they were like, hey, this is also a perfect time for us to, we'll say it right now. And then, like, in the event that, well, if it's, I don't know if this is what they were thinking, but if I'm going to call out CT right now, and I'm going to say it to his face, yes, I'm voting for you. More than not, if they got to pick who was brought in with them to fight and earn those skulls, they're probably not going to pick the people that said straight to their face, yeah, we have to go for you. They're probably going to go end up, even though those would be the easier people to face, they would probably end up going for someone that they were more mad at.
Right. Joseph finally woke up from his nap. That was good. He finally woke up, got off the couch, wasn't hugging that little pillow anymore, and he was trying to make his name known a little bit and going at CT. I enjoyed that greatly, but we'll see how Joseph fares and if he can actually keep that up, knowing that CT is now coming back.
And I'll just say, I think I'm grilling Joseph tonight. I think he comes across very likable and a very nice person outside of the game. I just don't quite get what got him casted onto the show. But
they wanted someone that could sing their way to the end and sing their way into TJ's final. Here's the thing we don't know. I've never seen an elimination where people have to sing. That could be an elimination, and Joseph is just able to get his skull, run TJ's final, and surprise us all. Is that going to happen? Hell no. But it's just one of those things. I don't understand how he got casted either.
Yeah, but Leo also produces music. Michi produces music. Tori produces music, sort of. Whether it's good or not, she produces it. So he ain't even the only singer. But anyway, we get to see the double agents now. They get to go into the chamber. And in that chamber, they realize the power of winning the missions is you first get to see who was the vote. And then you can see everyone who voted for that group. And you see there, basically everyone except for CT, Ashley, Natalie, and Wes voted for CT and Ashley to go in.
Yeah, because it was 22 votes, 22 total votes for them. So.
And the interesting thing, and I also don't think this was generally a smart move, Anissa saying, we're not going to tell anyone that we got to see all the votes. Because I think it's very short-sighted. Because once the next group, and they don't win, and another group gets to go in, and they get to find out, like, maybe no one thinks much of it. But I would feel there's a part of me that would go, they got to see everyone's secret of who they voted for, and they didn't tell us, and we're aligned together. So
yeah, that could be very problematic for them. I think what they should have done is they should have gone to people that they were specifically working with and say, hey, let's work together to make sure that we win the challenge that we have to compete in, aka the mission, in order to make sure we always know who's voting for who and who's lying to who. That's what you should do. You should go to your allies, let them know, hey, this is actually what we get to see. So we need to make sure that the people that we're aligned with are the only people that win these. So I definitely agree with you there. It's very short-sighted because someone else is going to go in there next and say, hey, interesting, we got to see who voted for who. Did you guys get to see that? Unless Anissa and Fessy are great liars and are able to get themselves out of that hole, I think it's going to be very problematic for them coming in the next couple rounds.
And my perspective there, and this will also lead on to something that we talk about later. If it was me and I win that second mission and I see that, I want to stir that pot. And I wouldn't even be angry about it. I would just make a side comment to someone that I know is aligned with Anissa and just go, so, fun thing. I got to see everyone who voted for blah, blah, blah to go in. Did they tell you about that?
Yeah.
And of course, at the moment, they're going to be like, yes, of course they did. That's known knowledge, obviously. And then run off to Anissa and Fessy. And that's when everything else will cascade. And I get to just sit there. If they want to argue with me, I'll argue. But you can't play a scared game.
Right. And another way to paint a target on people's backs, you're the only ones that actually see the votes for that round. If you want to put a target on someone else, you can say this person voted you in and you can lie about it. So if you really want to bring a bullseye on somebody, I would go into that and say, hey, there's a team I want to target later on. I'm just going to say that this team voted this team in, even though they didn't, because then you're able to stir some chaos in the house. And I love chaos on the challenge. So I hope someone does that this season.
And we'll definitely see. But that heads us into elimination. And each season, the elimination is called something else. This season, it's called the Crater. And in the Crater is where the team that gets voted in and the team selected by the double agents will compete. And the loser goes home. Winner earns a gold skull and will be qualified to run TJ's final at the end of the season. So it's revealed that CT and Ashley were the house vote. They get their initial thoughts. Obviously, they're both angry, but they're like, okay, well, we can be angry, but we have to fight now. And then it goes to Anissa and Fessy, very similar to the tribunals in the past where TJ goes, you can earn your stripes now, earn your skull, you can come down. But as Devin said, they ain't got no spine, and they both declined.
I mean, in their spot right then and there, just seeing the particular people that are going in, I probably would have taken a back seat as well.
Oh, yeah.
Fessy, no way. You don't want to go against CT. Anissa, if it's a physical challenge, yeah, it probably beats Ashley. But you just don't know what it is. And you heard Fessy say, I don't see a pole out there.
And that's, that's a comment I think is something he'll regret saying. I don't want people to have the impression that, oh, I'm only going to be good at physical eliminations. Because part of me goes, if I win a mission, I get to select someone, and I see there's a puzzle down there, I'm going to be like, hey, Fessy, earn your stripes, buddy. Have fun.
Yeah. Like we said, you have to be extremely careful what you say because people will use your words against you so quickly.
Okay. Well, that gets us to they ultimately decide an obvious thing. They pick Wes and Natalie. You got another winner and a survivor winner. Ship them down. Everyone's celebrating in their confessionals going, oh, man, either way, we're eliminating CT or we're eliminating Wes. But lo and behold, TJ gets the specifics. And tonight, you're not eliminated as pairs. You're fighting as individuals. And it's only in a women's elimination night. And everyone is just, oh my God, what did I just do? Facepalm emojis everywhere. Because CT is supposed to be gone. Wes is supposed to be gone. They're both still here no matter what.
Biggest shocker of the night to me, and what I will say is I'm pissed off we did not see the CT versus Wes. As much entertainment as it is to see Natalie versus Ashley, I would have loved to see CT versus Wes.
Honestly, as much as I want to see that, the ones I want to see more are either of them versus Darrell. I want to see Darrell versus CT part 2 because the first one, it was just a web of rope. I want to see those two in a pole wrestle, in a hall brawl. Just something where they both get to just beat the living crap out of each other. But that's not what we had tonight. We only had a women's elimination, so we have Ashley versus Natalie. And the elimination is called Operation Fire Escape. And the only reason why it was called Fire Escape is because they had fire there for decoration. The fire was nowhere close to them. It was just there, most likely to try to give them some warmth because, as Ashley says in her confessionals, it's really cold out there at night. So that's my thoughts there.
TJ saying it's on fire. You guys better move fast. I'm like thinking, TJ, you're not going to burn them to death.
Well, MTV loves fire. The Challenge and TJ, they love anything that can have fire. If they're putting a ball into a hoop, they're like, well, can we put the ball on fire? We'll just put them in the hazmat suits and they can run with a fire soccer ball around. Let's do that. That's fun. Either way, what happens here is there's two giant beams and each competitor is attached with a loose rope that's attached to their wrists and their ankles. And they have to shimmy their way from one end of the pole to the other. And in the middle of the pole, there's a little speed bump that they're going to have to maneuver to get around as they're competing.
Yeah, and we see both of them get hung up on that for, we don't know how long because sometimes in the challenge they don't show us the entire elimination, so they could have been stuck there for a while. And what I found interesting was Ashley gets over the first little hump before Natalie does. And you can see Natalie like, oh my gosh, Ashley's actually ahead of me. Because in my opinion, going into that, when Natalie heard what it was going to be, I think she thought she had a leg up on Ashley.
Yeah, but as Ashley says, she likes being bound. So this was sort of like her competition. She's like, oh, I'm used to this.
That is true. But then we see Ashley did get over the little hump first with one of her ropes, struggled big time on the second one. And that's when Natalie was able to get herself some momentum, get to the end of the first element of the course. And honestly, as people are saying up top, if you're going backwards, it's going to be much easier than going forwards.
Yeah, because when you're going backwards at that point, it's easier to move your hands. And more importantly, you're naturally pushing your legs up, not pulling them up instead of pushing them out. Pushing with loose ropes is a lot harder than pulling. So like when you're going forward, the thing that I think you would really need to do, you need to tighten up the ropes around your hands as hard as you can, and then really try to, it's sort of like an ab exercise. You have to thrust your hips up, then push your legs up, and then force that rope to push farther. Because at that point, it's always going to be easier to move over the rope around your hands.
Right. It has to be one full swing too, because that's really going to give you the momentum to be able to complete it quicker. And that's what a lot of people are giving for advice is if you keep swinging back and forth and trying to do these little movements, it's not going to work. You have to literally just get one big push to go up and get over that hump. So Ashley did end up getting over at one point, and then she starts to make it a race with Natalie a little bit. I think Natalie was pretty decently far ahead, but Ashley did well for herself. She stayed in it as best she could, but ultimately see Natalie come out with the victory here, and she's the first person on this season of the challenge, Double Agents, to win that gold skull.
And I think it sort of went a little bit with her strengths, being very into CrossFit. I know that people were saying maybe being muscular would be a disadvantage, but I think even though she's muscular, she's like, with CrossFit, you're doing a lot of abnormal movements, and a lot of them involving moving and shaking of your arms and your legs into different positions. So I feel this was actually more suited for her. And like she said, maybe this shows people, hey, she took out a winner and she did it in pretty good fashion. Don't mess with me. And I think there are a good portion of the women that are thinking, yeah, I don't want to mess with Natalie.
But as small as Ashley is, she held her own well.
Yeah.
Personally, sad to see her go because she brings the heat, the fire, the liveliness to the confessionals. And she always gets so many confessionals each and every season for as long as she stays on. So I'm going to miss having her for those for sure. But then we see another dilemma. Yet again, TJ throwing the last and final twist of the evening, where Natalie now can select if she wants to stay with Wes or go with CT as her partner. Then a bigger curveball. She can then potentially select someone out of any of the guys up there to be her partner. And so the challenge does us dirty and leaves us on that cliffhanger.
Except for the double agents. They can't pull apart the winning team in the mission from the mission.
Correct.
So what's basically happening here is you have power that's being given to both the people that win missions and the people that win eliminations. And this is a big twist, as I think Josh was saying. You really can't trust anyone now at this point because you have to be even more on your political and social game because you want to keep your team safe, or you realize the person that you picked initially, I don't like that much. If I win elimination, I could dump her off to someone else, or be like CT, where if she doesn't pick CT, CT's by himself. There's a question there. What happens with him? My assumption is he gets to keep going in the game, but in this next episode, he won't be able to compete in the competition, but most likely he will be safe from being put into elimination, at least by the house vote.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing how that format's going to work next week. So my biggest thing now is who's Natalie going to pick? What's she going to do? My prediction is that she actually doesn't stick with Wes. So I'm going to go with she either takes CT or picks someone else. Now, I will say I don't think it's a good idea for her to pick someone else other than those two, because then you really could piss somebody off. So I think her best move is to either stick with Wes or choose CT. Personally, I think she should choose CT.
I think it's sort of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Like either way, she's just been shown if you're associated with a winner, that pair's going to be targeted regardless. So if she was someone with more knowledge of the challenge and the history and maybe wanted to create a little more chaos just for the fun of it, I would swap and take Jay and put Teresa with Wes, who are exes and don't have the best relationship.
Yeah, that's a good move as well. You want to also know who has the most pull in the house, because you have to be very, very careful with your selection. If you choose someone from the top, if you're taking them away from other alliance members and those people don't specifically want to work with you, that really hinders your team. So you have to factor in that political game of who's working with who, be super knowledgeable of that. So I think that's why Natalie might have a little bit of a bigger issue with this decision, because she doesn't have all those relationships that everyone else in the house does. I do think, though, if she for some reason took Jay, that could be very, very interesting. I would be here for it. I would love to see a Survivor team together, but I don't think she's necessarily going to do that. So time will tell.
I honestly think it'll be between actually the 3 winners. Like, I think she'll either pick, just stick with Wes and be headstrong, because Natalie is someone who's shown to be stubborn. And like the people that she decides initially to rock with, she usually will continue to rock with despite anything else. She could go to CT and just think, oh, maybe CT is going to be just such a monster that we can dominate missions and then just keep us safe that way. She also can do that with Wes, though. Or she goes with Darrell, thinking Wes and CT are in the spotlight. Let me pick Darrell. We do have a lot in common. Well, I'll throw Amber over to Wes instead. So there's a lot of options there. But the thing is, you need more than ever now. Social and political game is so important, because if you have someone who knows that they're on the outs and they win an elimination, I'm going to pick someone that I don't like to be my partner. I'm going to try to split up so many teams and cause so much chaos and just make their lives hell, because they will never know who I'm going to pick next.
Yeah, it's going to be great to see what different strategy people use throughout this season of the challenge. And with that basically sums up episode 1 of Double Agents. I think it was a great premiere episode. And thank you so much for joining Alex and myself on Reality NSFW. Please be sure to tune in tomorrow night. Johnny, Zach, and Marie Rhoda are going to provide an expert point of view and go more in depth with the challenge. It's going to be great. So make sure you guys tune into that. And with that, Alex, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, and if you like what we're doing and you want more content, subscribe to Reality NSFW, click the like, and click the bell for notifications so you know when everything's popping up. As well as, if you want even more, become a patron for Reality NSFW. Johnny and his crew provide a lot of other additional content exclusive to the patrons. You can get involved with the Facebook group. They're doing Australian Survivor content for those who are missing Survivor. And they do a weekly Q&A with the patrons.
Yeah, so definitely come on over, join the Patreon page. There's a lot of good content going on. And with that, have a good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Looking for the ultimate stocking stuffers for this holiday season? Well, look no further, because our sponsors, Manscaped, have the tools to make you win this year's stocking stuffer or white elephant competition. Manscaped is the only brand dedicated to below-the-waist grooming and hygiene products. And great news! They just released their products across Europe, Canada, and Australia.
Now, I did the white elephant competition, if you will, at my office. And boy, oh boy, was the woman that received the Manscaped trimmer surprise. But here's the deal. On the white elephant, you're allowed to exchange your gift, or someone can steal it. She took the Manscaped razor from a man. So, needless to say, I'll be seeing if there's any business meetings I can attend in the near future.
A few of their products that are prime stocking stuffers this season are the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant. I mean, that name speaks for itself. The Crop Reviver Ball Toner, a spray-on toner that'll give your balls a little slice of heaven with their aloe vera and hazel extracts. The Crop Cleanser Body Wash, a full body wash that you can also use on your hair. The Crop Mop Ball Wipes, you never know when an opportunity strikes, so you should always be prepared with those.
I keep those around.
Yep, those are go-tos. And the Foot Duster Foot Deodorant, designed to keep even the stankiest feet smelling fresh.
Well, the Shears 2.0 is a luxury 4-piece nail kit. The Weed Whacker Nose and Ear Hair Trimmer, which provides proprietary skin-safe technology to get rid of those nasty nose hairs. Let's not forget about the best trimmer for your butt, balls, and body. Yes, fellas. Yes, ladies. We all like a clean-shaven butthole. True. The Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer offers a replaceable ceramic blade with advanced skin-safe technology, which helps reduce grooming accidents. No more CSI spectacles. No more Friday the 13th. No more what's the evil Santa that comes to get you and kills you? Krampus. No more Krampus. Use the Lawnmower 3.0. No more bloody messes. Here we go. Boom. These formulations are all vegan, cruelty-free, dye-free, sulfate-free, and paraben-free, so you know their products are legit. And get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with promo code SURVIVOR. They love it when we do that. That's manscaped.com, promo code SURVIVOR. And whether this is for your partner, your dad, your brother, your friend, get them something that they will actually use, and it's almost sure to get a laugh.
Get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with promo code SURVIVOR. Be the ballsiest gift giver this year with Manscaped.
Any fool can climb a wall or crawl through sand, but as every fan knows, Survivor challenges are won or lost at the puzzle. The most successful players are puzzle masters, and you can be one too. Fair play. Perplexers Puzzles creates handmade miniature replicas of many of Survivor's greatest and most challenging puzzles. Find out if you have what it takes by visiting the Perplexers Puzzle store on Etsy or simply visiting survivorpuzzle.com. Enter promo code FAIRPLAY, FAIRPLAY, at checkout for a 10% discount. And let me tell you, I'm hanging out on my patio on these beautiful summer nights. I have Zach Hacker coming over to my house, and we did the fire puzzle, the season 40 puzzle. I got the tree puzzle, and Zach was like, dude, these things are fucking awesome. So if you are a fan of Survivor, as Zach is, and I know he has a true, authentic Survivor puzzle that I have personally done, these Perplexers puzzles are the real deal. So go to survivorpuzzle.com right now, enter promo code FAIRPLAY at checkout for a 10% discount, and I promise you, you will not be disappointed.